I'm sure you've seen the Polestar 4 by now. If you haven't, you need to watch this video because it's a damn impressive electric car. But what you probably haven't seen is this new information, which we just found out within the last few hours, which is the price. The price is, well, it's interesting. Put it that way. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Electric Viking. Great to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Polestar. Before I get to what they have to say about this, I have to say thank you to all of you who have supported me on Patreon, supported the channel on Patreon. We could not have done it without you. YouTube members, thank you too. If you want to see our videos in advance, or some of them in advance, you can become a YouTube member. I'll put a link in the description. That helps support the channel. And also to every single one of you, 4,300 people who've donated to our GoFundMe campaign for my wife's cancer cause. The cancer has her cancer markers. She just had a new test. The markers have come down an extra 20%. It's not indicative that the tumor has decreased in size because we don't know yet, well, the tumors, but it is a really good sign. Things are starting to trend up again. Last week, they were looking bad. This week, they're looking really good. It's a bit of a roller coaster, but without your support, we couldn't even be here. Thank you. Polestar's CEO says that battery pack prices are coming down, will continue to come down, and that EVs, they say that their EVs are on parity with their competition. Their gasoline-powered competition, they say their prices right now are already on parity with their competition. And they say that by 2026, they will be significantly cheaper than their competition and provide a superior product. Do I believe them? 100%. There is no question. They are right. Polestar and Volvo CEOs, they have brains in their heads. Interesting to hear, that. I know, I'm sure you already know that. Some of their competition, Renault, Stellantis, these guys are clapping on like little 6-year-old children who are having a tantrum, a hissy fit. They're just completely ignoring the logistics going on here, or Toyota's CEO, doesn't matter. The point here is the Polestar 4 is absolutely a brilliant car. Polestar and Volvo are heading in the right direction. Geely is a part of that. Geely are doing some weird things, but fortunately Polestar and Volvo are definitely trending in the right way. Add to that, they're going to have the Zeekr brand selling at their dealerships. Imagine you walk into a Volvo dealership. You're going to be able to buy Volvo cars, Zeekr cars, and Polestar cars. Plus, you've got the new affordable Zeekr SUV coming. This is not affordable though. Sorry to say, my friends. Price has just been revealed in China. It's probably going to be 10% more expensive than the China price. But that said, there is some good news coming for US buyers of Polestar cars because these will be manufactured soon in the US. So some of them will qualify for the IRA incentives, but that won't happen for, I would say, about a year. Will be good for the future of US buyers of these models though. But the question is, would you buy one at this price? Well, I mean, the price is $53,800 US. That's a lot higher in China than a Tesla Model Y. To be fair, it's slightly bigger than a Tesla Model Y. It is a very cool design. It is luxurious. It's definitely a luxurious car. So maybe it's not exactly direct competition for a Model Y. No, it's not really. But it's, people will still cross-shop the two, especially when we see the new version of the Model Y come out in the first quarter of 2024, which will look significantly better in my view and be significantly better for a range of reasons. Then you probably will cross-shop them. And then it will be much harder for Polestar to sell these cars. But will they sell? Yes, because they are very impressive. Now, there is a cheaper version of the Polestar 4, which costs $50,800 US. Still a fair bit of money, but I mean, when you think about it, that's about the price of a Hyundai Ioniq 5. Here in Australia, for example. So yeah, I think it's a car that absolutely will be considered by a lot of buyers. Now, there is actually 6 versions of this car. The price starts, like I said, at $50,870 US, and it tops out at around $70,000 US. Now, it's a lot more money than a Tesla Model Y, which costs around $10,000 US less in China for the base model variants, but still, it's definitely worth considering. The Polestar 4 in its base model variant has a single motor rear drive variant. Now, the reason Polestar are using rear wheel drive cars, it's because they're better. EVs, all EV brands will move to rear wheel drive and all wheel drive. There won't be any front wheel drive cars. There's really no advantage of having a front wheel drive in an EV, none. That's what automakers are saying. That's what Volkswagen said. That's what Polestar is saying. That's what Volvo is saying. That's what even Hyundai is saying. As you know, Tesla doesn't make front wheel drive EVs either for this reason. I made a video on exactly why this is, and I'll put a link to that video. You need to see that. It's very interesting. So how much power does it have? This rear wheel drive motor has 200 kilowatt, which is around 285 horsepower. Torque is 343 newton meters. It'll do 0 to 100 in not a slow time, but it's okay, 7.4 seconds, 0 to 62 miles an hour, that is. Dual motor versions have a lot more power. 200 kilowatt at the rear for 400 kilowatt total. That's 600 horsepower total. They'll do 0 to 100 in 3.8 seconds. So very similar performance time to the Tesla Model Y performance. Now, for comparison, the rear-wheel drive Tesla Model Y is a bit faster than the rear-wheel drive Polestar 4. It does 0 to 100 in 6.9 seconds. The dual-motor all-wheel drive Model Y long range does it in 5 seconds, but you can pay a couple of thousand extra to get that performance time reduced by about a second. And the dual-motor all-wheel drive performance does it in 3.7 seconds. CNEVPost.com says that the Polestar is available in 2 battery pack sizes. The base model, which costs $50,000, has an 88 kilowatt hour battery pack, and the bigger pack has 102 kilowatt hours. So it's a pretty big battery pack in that bigger pack. Doesn't exactly result in the massive range that you might expect. Polestar 4 has a CLTC range of around 612 kilometers. EPA, you're probably looking at about 500. And the CLTC range of the bigger battery pack is 710 kilometers. So you're probably looking at about 600 kilometers EPA range for the Polestar long range version, which is, a pretty good distance, but considering the massive size of that battery pack, you would expect further until you read what the weight is. 2,200 kilos for the smaller pack, 2,360 kilos for the bigger pack. So what's the weight in pounds? You're looking at about 4,500 pounds for the rear-wheel drive version. The all-wheel drive version, you're looking at around 4,800 pounds. It's not light. It's not a small car, but it's not massive. So clearly that bigger battery pack, plus whatever way they're building this car, is definitely increasing the weight, because the equivalent Tesla Model Ys are about 10 to 20% lighter. So where will they be manufactured? Well, the models that will be sold in most countries around the world will be made in China. However, the US versions, the Canadian version, the versions made for the North American continent will be made in the United States. So what about charging? Well, both models charge at a speed of 200 kilowatt, which is not industry leading, but it's not bad. AC charging, so as in charging you can do at home, is 22 kilowatt. Of course, you would need the appropriate charger to get that kind of speed. However, the 4 has bi-directional charging with vehicle to load capability and a heat pump as standard. Now, not all cars have heat pumps as standard. A lot of people think that's the case. It's not at all. Morons write comments and everyone reads the comments and thinks that they're true. You can even buy, for example, right now, the Mercedes EQS doesn't actually have a heat pump as standard. They're going to change that in the future, but it doesn't currently. So that's a good feature, because if you're in cold areas, you want to have a heat pump, efficiency in your car will significantly improve. The Polestar 4 has a new drive optimization function that allows drivers to select between range and performance. This means you can prioritize efficiency. If you get the all-wheel drive version, it will actually uncouple the front motor when you're driving, but it can do this automatically. You don't have to do it. You just press the right setting for efficiency. When you're driving along on, say, a freeway or highway, or, say 60 kilometers an hour, so around about 40 miles an hour plus, you can select that setting. It'll uncouple the front motor, just use the rear motor, and then you'll get better efficiency out of the car. What about suspension? Well, the dual motor version has semi-active suspension, whatever that means. While Polestar has 20 and 22 inch wheel choices. If you're going to get this car and range matters to you, it does to most people, don't get the 22 inch wheels. That'll reduce your range by probably 5+%. 20 inch wheels are a much better choice, not only for actual driving comfort, but also for range. One of the things I've noticed, it features a low aerodynamic nose. So that's one of the great things about EVs. There's more of a focus by automakers on having cars that are lower. With gasoline internal combustion engine vehicles, there's been this focus on just making cars bigger and higher and boxier. It's not efficient. It's really dumb. However, this car also has retractable door handles, so it's good in terms of decreasing drag by having those retractable door handles. They look like a Tesla, and it has frameless windows. It has no rear window glass. It's one of the first cars ever made in terms of passenger cars with no rear window glass. It's got a little glass roof that you can see through at the top, but obviously you're going to have to rely on the digital screens to see where you're going when you're reversing, which is probably fine considering the technology they'll be using will be very, very good. You have to see a very clear picture of where you're going. The Polestar 4 crossover is not 190.5 inches long. That's 4,839 millimeters, 84.2 inches wide, which is 2,139 millimeters, and 60.8 inches tall, which is 1,544 millimeters. So it's not as tall as a Tesla Model Y, but it's wider and a tiny bit longer. Interior space will probably be quite similar though, considering the practicality and the way that the Model Y has been designed. However, the width, it's quite a wide car. So if you've got to drive down narrow streets, might not be the best choice. It's as wide as an Audi Q7. Safety is really important with this car. It's got 9 airbags, 12 cameras, 1 radar system, 12 ultrasonic sensors, and drivers have a 10.2 inch display ahead of the steering column and a 14-inch head-up display, which I think is really cool. I've had head-up displays in the past. I think they're great. There's also a snow mode that switches the HUD's, which is the head-up display's text color, from white to yellow. Obviously, if you're driving in snow, then you can't see the head-up display information if you're driving with the color that it would provide. So it has a 15.4 inch screen in the middle of the car, and that is a landscape-oriented infotainment display which runs the Android Automotive Operating System. It has built-in Android features like Google Maps, Google Assistant, and Google Play Store. Apple CarPlay is included. Customers can upgrade to a 12-speaker Harman Kardon sound system. However, those who upgrade to the Napa pack get 2 additional speakers in each front headrest for 16 total. You can really see Polestar are going after the luxury market with this car. That is 100% their intended market. Customers who are willing to pay a bit more, and pay a bit more for the options packs as well. Speaking of packs, you have the aforementioned packs that I just mentioned, plus you have the Plus pack, which focuses on improving the technology and comfort. The Plus Pro pack adds color-coded body parts, an electrochromic glass roof, which can basically change the roof from being able to see through it to being completely dark, and extra interior illumination. The previously mentioned Napa pack has the Plus pack included, plus you get massaging seats and Napa leather upholstery with ventilation. Sounds very nice to me. Now, the long-range dual-motor version is available with a performance package that includes Polestar-engineered chassis tuning. In other words, probably harder suspension, better for cornering, better for handling, but probably not as soft. The pack also comes with 22-inch wheels, 4-piston Brembo brakes, and gold details for the brakes, seat belts, and valve caps. You could get that pack and then ask them to put the smaller wheels on. That's what I'd be doing. The Polestar 4 will begin production this November in China, where it'll launch first. And the company will release more details for the North American market next year because they'll be making the car in North America next year. Prices. It's expected to start at around $10,000 more than the price in China. $60,000 is the likely price for most countries. Australia, probably slightly more than that. You're probably looking around about a $90,000 starting price in Australia. So yeah, it's not cheap, but it's a damn nice car. And it will be better than its competition. When I mean its competition, I mean it'll be better than probably most options available from BMW, Audi, and Mercedes. That's my guess though. I could be wrong. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.